Why don't you just join our country? You become 51, become the 51st state.
Canada in 2025. Politics is being reshuffled. The economy is slowing. Immigration and tariffs are shaping the country's direction. For Chinese Canadians, this is not background noise. It is everyday reality. So this year has to be recorded. A federal transition brings Mark Carney to power. Some see it as technocratic governance, prevailing over emotional politics. Others argue he is simply an upgraded version of Trudeau 2.0. The Conservatives regain seats, poll numbers rise, progress is visible, but a breakthrough remains out of reach. Behind the Liberals' continued hold on power, some say it was luck, if not for Donald Trump's dramatic return. Pierre Poilievre might already have taken the reins. On Carney's first day in office, he moved quickly to adopt existing ideas, taking in much of the Conservatives' cost of living agenda. Others say the next 4 years of Liberal rule will mean more time lost. The Liberals' re-election did not bring unity. Instead, deeper divisions surfaced. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith once again raised the idea of Alberta independence, bringing national fractures into full view. The opposition regains its footing as federal politics enters a new phase. Key opposition figures return to the arena. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, during the election, unexpectedly lost his long-held safe seat, drawing widespread political attention. He later ran in a by-election in Alberta's Battle River Crowfoot riding, and won. Returning to Parliament, after returning, Poilievre maintained a tough, direct style, keeping pressure on the government during question period. He was described by the media as a central force within the opposition. 9 Chinese Canadians were elected, setting a federal record. Their voices are clearer than ever. A political chapter closes. The Carney government's first budget passed narrowly, 170 to 168. Meanwhile, a series of key shifts unfolded in federal politics. Former Conservative MPs Christie in Tremont and Michael Ma crossed the floor to support the governing side. Along with decisive by-election results, the balance of seats in Parliament became clearer. In a short period, the Conservatives saw 2 MPs switch sides. This pushed federal politics into a more stable, yet more centralized phase. Against this backdrop, the Liberals' grip on Parliament strengthened. At this point, this phase of political maneuvering largely came to an end. This year, many people had to admit that, in Canada, the economy had cooled, the housing market had sunk, and daily life had become harder. Before the political direction fully settled, the economic chill had already arrived. In 2025, Canada officially entered the slow lane. The housing market stopped sprinting with transactions nearly cut in half. Sales in Metro Vancouver fell by 15%. New developments stalled and inventory piled up. Rents continued to decline, yet homes could no longer sell at previous prices. Capital continued to flow south. Businesses investing in the US became the new normal. Nutrien placed a $1 billion project in Washington state, catching the federal government off guard. Even Hudson's Bay could not hold on, and the Chinese investment behind the deal entered the public debate this year. If the sale of Hudson's Bay symbolized the retreat of traditional retail, then real estate became the real source of market anxiety. Over the past year, Metro Vancouver real estate didn't just cool. Major developers ran into trouble one after another, from a key Cambie Street project placed under court supervision, to the Richmond night market site tied up in major foreclosure proceedings, to Coromandel properties seeking CCAA creditor protection. These cases shared one thing in common. They involved real estate firms with Chinese backgrounds, once considered among the most stable developers. Yet, within the same cycle, they entered foreclosure, liquidation, or restructuring. This wave was not an isolated failure, but the Chinese community's real estate system, facing its first concentrated stress. Inflation eased, but food banks grew busier. The pressure never truly left. Interest costs surged, leaving less money available for growth. Is Canada still the Canada it once was? In 2025, the focus shifted from protecting growth to not falling behind the US and the G7. A single remark from Donald Trump.
Why don't you just join our country? You become 51, become the 51st state.
Set the tone for Canada-US relations this year. Every shift in the United States landed directly on Canada. Under pressure, more Canadians began calling for Buy Canadian, trying, in their own way, to preserve domestic confidence. But reality was harsher. The US tightened trade and pulled investment away, leaving Canada to absorb the impact. The effects became increasingly tangible. More people delayed dental care, cut back on prescriptions, as layoffs became frequent. Flight delays and cancellations became routine. Each assertive move by the US directly changed Canadians' daily lives. On autos, steel, aluminum, and lumber, US pressure continued. Canada's ability to resist was limited, and the burden fell on ordinary families. America First was no longer a slogan, but a real rule of competition. Carney moved at full speed on diplomacy, from the Middle East to the Indo-Pacific, seeking new space for Canada. Energy disputes resurfaced. Just as negotiations showed progress, domestic controversy intensified. In 2025, the federal government pushed new cross-border energy export routes. The cross-border pipeline issue once again ignited tensions between Alberta and BC. Alberta pushed to accelerate pipeline construction to expand energy exports. BC emphasized provincial and Indigenous rights, arguing the federal government was moving too fast, with insufficient consultation. The dispute quickly became a national focus. It was also seen as a conflict among Ottawa, Alberta, and BC, marking the start of a new round of energy route power struggles. Tensions eased in one place, only to flare up elsewhere. A Trump-mocking ad from Ontario triggered another diplomatic ripple. In the end, Carney stepped in himself, issuing a swift and direct apology to the US. Resources tightened as the population kept growing. This year, the system was pushed to its limits. Immigration sources became overly concentrated, especially international students, heavily concentrated from India. Triggering nationwide debate, communities changed too fast, and services couldn't keep up. Even Canadians known for patience showed rare frustration. Immigration policy finally hit the brakes. With no expansion over the next 3 years, international students became the focus. Caps, higher thresholds, tighter work permits. Some newcomers began leaving, choosing different paths, because the reality was clear. Jobs were becoming harder to find. Newcomers struggled, and locals weren't having an easy time either. So families asked, can the future here still carry our future? The shocks of 2025 came from more than policy, but from wave after wave of real-life disruptions. Canada Post repeatedly faced shutdown risks. Mail, medication, and documents all slowed. Aviation was also turbulent. Air Canada repeatedly faced labor deadlocks. Passengers were left uncertain. Wildfire smoke again blanketed the West. Air quality dropped to extreme lows. After the fireworks festival, organizers announced a pause next year. Some arrest sense of ritual suddenly felt broken. In a year of upheaval, Chinese Canadians were not bystanders. They were affected, involved, and creating. More Chinese Canadians began to speak up, shaping their communities step by step.
And I want to take a moment to thank the Chinese community for leading the charge against the drug den enrichment.
Chinese Canadian stories are not statistics. They are lived reality every day. SG Media stayed present, documenting and telling stories so people are seen. Looking back on 2025, SG Media recorded every truth amid rapid change. Looking ahead to 2026, we will go further, so no Chinese Canadian voice is missed by the times.
了解更多最新加国信息，关注加拿大学院传媒。